Welcome to another edition of the AsIs podcast. I am your host, Shabazz. How's everybody feeling today? I hope that this podcast finds you in the best mental, physical, and spiritual health. I hope that this podcast puts a smile on your face. I hope that this podcast allows you to think, opens up your mind. I like to ease your spirit. You feel me? Like, I don't know. I've been feeling real good the last couple of days. And something just weighed heavy on me. The politic with the people. You know, I didn't really want to do the back and forth beefing, but it seems like that's inevitable, and the shit is crazy. So what I decided to do today is I am going to make a parallel of the confusion, the jealousy, and the hatred, and compare it to the R.Kelly case. What I'd like to address first is Sharon Winbush. Now, because I respect the game, I'm going to do it with class. Feel me? So let me start by saying this. You know, I said what I said, and I meant what I said. It remains the same. And Sharon, unfortunately, has decided to rebuttal. I get it. You gotta save face. You gotta say something. That's that alpha. You know? But dig what I'm gonna say to you. The personality and mentality of a Sharon Winbush is similar to that of a Azriel Clary. It's similar to that of all of the victims who've accused R.Kelly of wrongdoing. Why do I say that? Because secretly, they've all waited for something to go wrong in order to lash out. Now let me hit you with something real. See if you can understand. And I am, again, directing what I'm saying to the sisters. So let me get this down for a minute so I can let you hear. The way I feel about certain things is this. If we have a relationship, or we have a friendship, be it platonic or otherwise, I feel as though what happens between us stays between us. And although some things may not go the way that we want them to go, it's not the business of the public. Now, there was nothing that happened between me and Sharon Winbush that cannot be publicly said. However, it's a mentality. You dig? So let me hit you with something. Excuse me. My words of wisdom. And my words of wisdom says that a relationship is when yesterday's disagreement didn't stop today's communication. You understand? Because we had a disagreement yesterday doesn't mean that we stop communication today. Because if we stop the communication today and start with the disrespect, there was always an underline of the disrespect waiting to come out. You understand? So what's being said and transferred via social media to one another are things that wanted to be said anyway. It's like disliking a person, but not having a reason to express your disliking for that person until that person does something to you. I've noticed that in confrontations and all of them that I've had on YouTube, in particular, the women, there was one with Spit and Fire. And she revealed that she remembered me from 2 or 3 years ago when I was on someone else's show. But there was a contradiction within that because she says she doesn't listen to me and she didn't know who the post was directed to. So she harbored her disliking and her hate for 2 or 3 years. And there was a reason for it to come out when I said something. You understand? Like when people tell you things, sometimes all you have to do is really listen to them to understand that what they're saying and what they feel, they've always felt that way. They just didn't bring it out. Sharon Winbush is similar to spitting fire. And here's why I'll say that, because she's coming at me and she's made quite a few posts since I've posted. I think that I got under her skin. And I am not going to address all of that, and I will not continue to go back and forth and do what I said it was. It's the nigga thing. It's the I'm more clever than you. I could say something slicker than you. And as she says, I have more followers than you. You know, I hold a little bit more weight than you. But dig what I'm saying to you. That just shows that this is not really about R. Kelly. It is about establishing your own dominance in the R. Kelly conversation. See, R. Kelly is just a catalyst to bring out what people want to say anyway. And what's amazing to me is people are not clever enough to see it. And I'm not saying all, because women see it. You know, I've always been an avid supporter of women, especially black women, basically because of my mama. Women are clever. You understand? Like, they're just clever. Some of them are dumb, but for the most part, women are clever. So when you reveal your hand, you reveal that you aren't as clever as you actually thought you were. And the reason why I'll say this is because the questions and the beef actually started because I gave Sharon an advance warning as the questions that I was going to ask. So with me getting ready to ask her those questions, she decided to think that it was a personal attack because of the content of the questions. One dealt with supermodel BBW Ashley Graham. One dealt with the accusations of her stealing out of R. Kelly's house. She felt some type of way. And she felt as though through my journalistic integrity, I should not have asked her those questions. Not even Tasha K stooped that low. But for me, again, it was just a warning to prepare her for what I was going to ask so she can have the proper answer as opposed to being blindsided. Now, as upset as the young lady got about me potentially asking her those questions, what has ended up happening is through her posts, she has answered all of those questions anyway. You dig? So although they might have been dumb enough, it was, according to her, to be asked that question, they weren't dumb enough for her to answer them because she answered the same questions that I was going to ask, and she answered them to show her proof and her benefit to fight against me. You understand? So that's what we call tit for tat. Now, I am going to use the Sharon Winbush story as a parallel towards the R. Kelly story, because these are the type of mentalities that are around and were around R. Kelly. It's that I am going to get you as soon as I have the opportunity, because secretly you have something that I want. Now, in this situation, I don't know what I have that she wants. And I'll say before she says it, it's probably nothing. But on the other hand, I believe it's something. And I believe that the followers that she has that are more than mine's holds no weight. And I'm going to tell you why. I always got to tell you a story, right? I had a model, okay? This model was on the cover of Black Men magazine. As a matter of fact, her name was Wankago. Wankago was on the cover of Black Men magazine along with Black China. Now, Black China, the Kim Kardashian's Black China's first magazine to ever be on the cover of was AsIs. I got her from a photographer in Florida when she was in a strip club. There was a brother that was over at Black Men magazine. John Blassingame used to work. He was the publisher of Black Men magazine, and he worked for me as a consultant. His son ended up taking over Black Men's magazine. And what went from John Blassingame being a consultant for Shabazz went into competition for his son. Because again, you know, when magazines were heavy in rotation, there was certain titles that had it the way they had it. And I wasn't even in that genre. The genre that Black Men was in was with King magazine and Black Men. And those were the two leading titles. What I did was I decided to put women on the back covers of AsIs. Unfortunately for them, that created competition. Because now I'm offering women and I'm offering street stories, and that was a winning combination. So it turned into a competitive nature. I was fine with it because at the end of the day, as much as I talk about my magazine, I want you to understand something. I've always considered myself and my magazine as the low dude on the totem pole because I was going up against giants. So I had a mentality of hunger and passion that says, you're nobody. You understand? Like sometimes it's good to put yourself in a nobody situation because a nobody situation makes you hungry. You don't always take the nobody situation as disrespect, especially when you say you're nobody to yourself, because a nobody has to eventually turn into somebody because somebody was always a nobody at one time or another. Sounds confusing? It isn't. Okay, so Wankego, excuse me, is on the cover of Black Men, and then she gets on the cover, Black China gets on the cover with her. Before that, I had both of them on my covers, respectively, Black China, and I had Wankego. So now, at this time, Wankego has 1 million followers. You understand? 1 million followers. I'm thinking that, I'm going to win. I'm going to win because of the numbers. There was a time where numbers intimidated me. There was a time where if you told me I got 10 followers and I only got 1, I would be scared of you because I bought into the you are the influencer mentality. Because now they use those terms so loosely that people start to buy in and believe that. You understand? If you have, XYZ amount of followers, you are considered an influencer. But let me tell you the real truth behind that. Because of the success with the sales with Wankego, I decided I was going to throw a party. So I threw a party. Now, the party that I threw was totally free with the exception of the drinks. Everybody can come in, because I felt like if I was doing a company party, I'm going to do it and I'm going to make it free. Everybody can come through. Now, of course, the women was coming through because of the magazine. And, of course, the men followed the women. Now, the headline for the party was Wankego. So I'm figuring that this party is going to have, if she has 1 million followers, on the low scale, if we do it according to mathematics, 30% of 1 million is 300,000. There's no club that can hold 300,000 people. So I'm still with a ghetto mentality, although I own a magazine, but I am applying ghetto mentality tactics into the magazine. I'm not using the tactics that an advertiser would tell you that if you have 1 million followers, you should shoot for 30% of those followers with realistic numbers, and that would give you 300,000. I didn't think that way because I've never really bought into that because that's what they tell you in a textbook, but in real life it's totally different. So the moral of the story is, although the party did well, we did nowhere near the number or the amount of followers that Wankego had. Be mindful, I had Wankego do the radio. She was on the radio. She did the shout outs. She did it on was it Instagram? I can't remember. It was Instagram. I think it was Facebook and Twitter. She did all of that. But the people didn't come out. You understand? Because although she had 1 million followers, because you have a follower does not mean that you are actually an influencer. A lot of times, what I found in this business is when you see those type of models, right? And Wankego was what is considered a booty model. So was Black China at that time. Black China has transcended now and gone up into higher things. However, she started as a booty model. When you're showing booty, you can get 1 million followers because you're showing your ass. That doesn't make you an influencer. You understand? It's a big difference. And when you're showing your ass, of course you're going to get 1 million people to follow you. That means nothing. Now, technically, she can take those 1 million followers after she shows her ass and get an endorsement from a lingerie company, a bikini company, and she can sell that, pitch that to them saying, I have 1 million followers and I need you to pay me per post for doing whatever. And on social media, sometimes that works. But what they never really tell you is those 1 million followers does not transcend into sales. So In essence, is 1 million followers really worth anything financially? Other than giving you the bragging rights that we all buy into, because for whatever reason, with our people, we are the strongest, most brilliant people on this planet. I will maintain and always say that about black people. You understand? I'm pro-black all day, every day. Nothing gonna change about that. I could care less who listens and who disagrees and who feels like it's racist. That's just your feelings. But that's my people, and that's what I am. So never will I ever go against that. However, as I was saying, you can take those pictures for a project and say, this is what I should do. Now, based on paperwork, they may go for it. But 2, 3, 4, 5 months later, they ain't got the sales based on them followers. As a matter of fact, let me make it even more clear. There was a time when I went through a problem with the management in the R.Kelly camp. And it was based on us doing a tour. It was based on the amount of followers that he had on Facebook and Instagram. And at one time, R.Kelly combined had 7.2 million followers. Someone in his management, that I am not going to name, said that those numbers were not accurate. This was his management. And I think I've told this story before, so I'm not going to go back into it. But me and his management at that time got into a problem because they're telling me, yo, those numbers are fictitious. Do not base the social media numbers on a tour. And at the time, before I really understood the game and understood how it was played, I'm arguing with management because I'm saying, dude, I see 7.2 million followers altogether. And dude is telling me, Baz, I don't care what you see. Those numbers are not accurate. Those people are not going to come out the way you see them on Instagram and on Facebook. I found that to be very true. Because again, Wonkago's star power with her 1 million followers did not convert into 1 million people coming to our anniversary party. Now, I say all of that to say, when a person like Sharon Winbush uses a defense to say, I have more followers than you, that is a defense mechanism to say that she's better or she's bigger or her platform means more, but it doesn't. And this is not towards Sharon Winbush, because someone else told me the same thing before. And sometimes you look at people's numbers and you can become intimidated because it would appear to be that way. But let me tell you something. You can have one follower and you don't even know who that person is. But the person that's following you might be Elon Musk. You understand? It might be Barack Obama. It is not the quantity of followers. It is the quality of the follower, because you can have that one follower who can actually place a call and bring 10,000 people out, as opposed to having 10,000 followers and you can't get one person to come out. And just because you're shaking your ass does not guarantee that that is going to transition into sales, into hard-earned cash. Don't believe what they tell you on these sites. Don't believe that because you got one follower and they got 100,000 followers that they are stronger than you. You don't believe that. Let me tell you something. The way I think, you understand, and the way I want you to think is it doesn't matter how many are against you. You believe in yourself, and win, lose, or draw, you fight mentally, physically, spiritually with all you got at all times. Because what happens is when you don't, the people that have those kind of followers, what they do is they come back and they try to use it to manipulate your mind by saying, I have 100,000 followers. You can't mess with me. And if you keep talking, I am going to release the followers. And a lot of times we buy into our own loss because we say, hold up. Let me not go after that person. They have 100,000 followers and they're going to slay me. Look, let me tell you something. Let me tell you the beauty about being black. Because black ain't always beautiful. Black is just always black. You understand? I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to sit here and tell you a bunch of nonsense. Excuse me. That's not what's in me. I don't care how many or whoever it is for anything. It's going to be what it's going to be. If you're going to slay me, then I'm going to be slain. That's black. That's brilliance. That's our attitude. That's our people. That's what built this damn country. Do not ever buy into anybody who tells you anything different. You understand? That goes for you too, Sharon Winbush. I could care less about who you got as a follower. I wouldn't care if Jesus Christ followed you. I'm not getting ready to go back and forth with you all day, every day. No, we're not doing that. You can do that. You need that. I'm not going to tell you you need to use me as clickbait, but you need to have a fight to be relevant. I don't. I said what I said and I meant what I said. And the only thing that I said that was disrespectful in the remotest way was to tell you I gave you an advance warning because I knew what you were going to do. You keep harping on the sisters. You keep harping on, what you're harping on. You try to flip it so you can make it believe like I came to you for permission to speak about all of that is not true. And here's what I'm going to say. I'm not going to defend that. And the reason why I'm not going to defend that is because people are going to believe what they're going to believe. If you are a Sharon Winbush follower, you are going or be more inclined to believe and listen to her. So sitting up here going back and forth, it makes no sense. I rest my case with what I said. And what I said was initially I asked you a question that you felt offended by, and I shouldn't have asked you that question. But the punchline is you ended up asking the question anyway. So in essence, how much of a relationship did we actually have anyway? How good of a friendship did we actually have anyway? Because if this is all it took for all of this to come out, then we was never really friends in the first place. You understand? We was really never those people in the first place because it shouldn't have taken something as small as this for it to be where now I'm getting ready to go after Shabazz and I'm going to say this and I'm going to say that. Like, no, dog, we can have a difference in opinion and we can have a spat, but does it call for or qualify for us to be going through what we're going through? And that's just not applied to Sharon Winbush. That's just how the game goes in life. Because remember what I said, a relationship is when yesterday's disagreement did not stop today's communication or understanding. You dig? You feel what I'm saying to you? Like, so when all of the communication and understanding goes out the window based on yesterday, there was never really a day anyway. It was always a front. It was always a relationship based on benefit. That's how the game goes. That is the nature of people. And the bad thing about it is people will never really tell you all of that. People will pretend and people will act as if they're your friend until they get mad at you. And when they get mad at you, boy, will they show you something different. Now, how am I going to make that make sense with R.Kelly? I'm going to do it real easy because I want you to follow my thought process and see how I think. Like, because I could sit here and talk till I'm blue in the face because that's all we all really do anyway, is sit up here and run our mouths. That's it. It doesn't matter if it's coming from a news anchor or from Shabazz. It is no difference in the verbal communication. They're words. But what I'd like to do to add on to my words is give you proof. And the first part of proof I'm going to give you today is AsIs. I am going to show you a clip of what initially started what I didn't know was that deep anyway. And here's what I'm saying. You're going to hear and see Azriel start to talk to federal agents. And it started from the hospital. Now, if you've listened to some older podcasts, I told you, she started asking for the feds in the ambulance. We recorded it. I wasn't in that vehicle. I was in my car behind the ambulance. An associate of mine was in the ambulance with her. They told her they did not have a connection to federal agents. However, once we got in the emergency room and I got her out of her hiding spot, because be mindful, she was so popular with Instagram and Joycelyn's posting of Instagram that the people in the hospital was watching those lives. Not only some of the patients and the people waiting in the emergency room, but hospital staff. Because in the Chicago hospital, there are a lot of black women and they were between 20 and I'd say 35 years old. So that age demographic was tuned in to the R.Kelly, Joycelyn, and Azriel scandal. Because of that, I had to go and find someone in that department that had the power to not allow her to sit in the emergency room, but put her in a separate room by herself to keep the attention off of her. Because understand, although you guys are going to say I'm wrong, when I'm committed to you, shorty, I'm committed to you. And at that time, I was committed to Azriel. And it wasn't because I wanted to sleep with her. Never crossed my mind. It was because of what she was going through. You understand? And that is why it is so hard for people to understand my position, because most of y'all are frauds. There has to be a benefit. People no longer do the right thing just because it's the right thing to do. And the way I was raised, or the way I turned my mentality into, was she was a sister and she needed help. It didn't matter, what was going on with R.Kelly and this, that, and the other. If I had the power to help her, I was going to help her. Even though I was still blinded and I didn't know everything that was going on, but it didn't matter. And what superseded that for me is I'm Muslim, and her father was Muslim. And I told her father, I got your daughter, son. I'm going to hold you down. It would be no difference if me and my man was in the street getting money and my man got locked up. But I know my man's girl and I know my man's girl's kids. But my man locked up. Back in the days, we would look out for each other. I'm going to make sure that while you're away, your family is all right. I may not have, depending on how you live, you might live in some place that costs, $6,500 a month. If I ain't getting money like that, I can't help pay the rent, but I can help with the light bill. You know what I'm saying? I can help with giving Shorty some money every time I see him. I know it ain't much, but here, that's enough to go buy y'all some chicken for the night. Because that is my moral obligation to my man. That's how it's supposed to be. It don't go like that no more, though. Man, your man get locked up for whatever, be it embezzlement or drugs. It could be anything. The first thing your man today gonna do is try to sleep with your girl. That's how the game go today. That's what's fair. I don't come from that school of thought, son. She's off limits, especially, I'm holding my man girl down. You understand? So with that being said, that is why I held down Azriel. So in the event that people keep questioning, oh, well, you was with the this and you was with the that, the irony of it and the twist of it is the people that say I flipped on R. Kelly by being with Azriel, you flipped on R. Kelly more so than I did, because at that time, Azriel hadn't flipped and was really still with R. Kelly. So who did I flip on for real? Because it wasn't him. I was making sure she was all right. And you can come with you was in the apartment and all this crap. I don't care about none of that. And the reason, again, I'm going to tell you is because she had the right to let anybody she wanted to into that apartment, as did Joycelyn. And me being in the apartment at that time, excuse me, was not intended. But here's the point. We got her out of the room. And somehow or another, when I got her in my face, I'm standing right next to her. She's on the phone. And I believe her phone rang. So now I got the camera and I am filming her while she is on the phone. You are going to see what she says with your own eyes. You're also going to see, or maybe I can't remember, even though the tape is right in front of me, I think I put my hand out and told her I didn't physically say anything. I extended my hand for her to hold my hand and I picked her up off of the chair and I walked her into the bathroom so it could be private, because as she was speaking, she had the federal agents on the phone, but everybody who was in that area was listening. I didn't think it was a good look for her to be talking to the feds and everybody could listen. Now, once you see that, you also have to realize that at that time, she hadn't flipped 100% against R. Kelly. She was going through the motions. You understand? But when I realized that she really flipped is when she got to a certain part of her story. And part of that story is when she says or alleged that she ate poop. You understand? But up until that part, I'm still not thinking that she's going all the way through it. I'm looking at it and I'm using it. This is a metaphor. This is third eye vision. And what I mean by third eye vision, you are in an incident and it's like your body has an outer experience situation. So I'm arguing with a girl and I see, she is mad as hell and she's trying to stab me or hit me or whatever the case may be, right? The police are there, but I'm experiencing it, but I'm looking at it hovering above. And I'm looking at it hovering above, but my mind is saying she ain't pressing charges. We're fighting and she's mad. Excuse me, but she's not about to press charges. And the reason why is because I've seen her mad before. When girls flip, there's a limit to the amount of flip, because sometimes you can get to a fight with a shorty and shorty just say, nah, I don't want you to arrest him. I just want him out my house. And the police will say to you, she's mad right now. You need to just disappear for a day or two, because she's mad. Let her get over it and then come back. But if you come back on this shift, we're going to arrest you. I've been in those situations, and I was the one who owned the house. Dig that. And this was before it was established that who's the actual owner, because there was a time in America, and it's probably like that in some places, that if a man and a woman is fighting, the police are always going to go to the woman, right? And they're going to side with the woman. But sometimes they overstep their boundaries, and they have an oversight to actually establish whose house is this. So before they got to the point of saying whose house this is, I was told to leave from my own damn house. I promise you. She looked at me, because this actually happened. And I'm looking in an out-of-body experience. She looked at me and she's telling them, no, I don't want him arrested. I just don't want him here. And she looked at me with eyes that were a cue and a question. And the cue was, I know you're getting ready to say this ain't my house. And the question is, are you going to say this ain't my house? And my eyes looked back at her and I said, you know what? I know you pissed right now, but I ain't even going to play you like that. I'm going to let you tell the police whatever, and I'm going to leave. And you know why? Because sometimes love supersedes emotion. And although I'm pissed at her, what we arguing about and fighting about ain't even that important. You dig? So I could have played dirty and said, wait, hold up. This not even your house. But during the time in the era that this happened, I was in the streets getting money. You understand? So unbeknownst to the police, I had another spot to go to, even though it was a stash spot. Nevertheless, it was a spot I could go to. And then I had money in my pocket. I'd go stay in a hotel, because I knew in my heart, she knew she was in my house, right? And she could live in my house for as long as there was food in there. But during them times, food wouldn't really be in there. We would keep the basic necessities, potatoes, rice, and some bread. How long you gonna live off of that? So I knew within myself, and she knew when she looked at me with the cue and the question eyes, that I'm gonna call you nigga. I'm mad at you right now. I want you to break your leg right now. But I still love you. I'm just mad. There's no way for me to fight you. I can't win. So I gotta play dirty. All of that can be determined in a look. And some people might say, you know what? That's toxic. Nah, shorty, that's love. That's how the game go. That's that passionate, inseparable shit. You ain't gonna understand unless you've been there. And at that time, shit, I loved the hell out of her. That don't mean I wasn't gonna, fight with her. And I'm not saying it is right to fight with her, but that didn't take away that this is the person that I love, and we're having a spat right now. And it didn't take away the integrity of me not telling the police, you got me twisted. This is my house. She got to go. Because you can be in a situation with somebody you don't care about that much, and you're going to tell that person that you ain't really feeling like that. Nah, she going. I'm not going. But when it's love and it's real, all right, I'm out. Because from my third eye, I know she's going to end up calling me anyway. Or I'm going to call her. And it ain't going to be later on in the night. It's going to be before that police officer get off his shift. The same cop that said, don't come back on my shift because you're going to get locked up this time for trespassing. I could just disrespect that anyway, simply because what are you talking about? Dude, this is my house. I might have got arrested for the time. You understand? For right then and there. But once I got to court, my lawyer gonna show whose name is on the lease. Who paid his mortgage? It ain't hers. Case dismissed. But then sometimes you be in those situations and you don't feel like going through the 2 or 3 days until you get to court to fight. So you just walk away. But that, again, was not the reason. The reason was, like I said, I love a shorty like that. And I knew she was mad. And I knew what she would do. She knew what she would do. But she didn't know what I was going to do, again, with the cue in question. Look, you dig? That's toxicity. But let me tell you something. contrary to what a lot of you may believe, those are the best types of love ever. Maybe I'm just, I don't even know. I'm not even going to defend it. Those intense, passionate things, that is what makes it. That's what pumps the blood. That's what just does it for you. Like, that's it. So I tell you all of that to say, as I am watching Azriel do what she's doing while I'm filming, I'm thinking at one point she's getting ready to hang up the phone because she's going a little too far. That point didn't come. She went all out. Now, even after that incident happened and her going all out, I still didn't think that it was really an end. I thought she was just really pissed. She was upset because she just fought with Joycelyn, and she was going to, be like girls be when they be in that situation. Everybody's level of anger is different when they mad. Some people might really try to shoot you. Some people might stab you. Some people might be satisfied with a smack. Some girls might be satisfied with the get out. Some girls might be satisfied with getting all your shit and throwing it out the window. It's everybody's level of anger is different. So who am I to say what she was going to do? The only thing that I was able to say was I was filming it. Now, some people are going to say, yo, you was dirty because you filmed it and did. Yo, at the end of the day, dig, I had a job to do. And see, this is what other people don't understand. When you are hired for a job, you do your job. You cannot let emotions or feelings supersede intellect. You can't put yourself inside and before that job. You are there to do a job. A lot of people get it twisted, and sometimes this happens in prisons. If you have a female correction officer, a CO, she is there to guard inmates. Sometimes they let their feelings supersede their intelligence and they have relationships with the inmates. You've gone too far. You can't go to work and are supposed to be watching an inmate and now you have feelings for him. No. You're going to get caught and you're going to lose your job because you brought feelings into it. No, you were supposed to bring you into it and leave your feelings out. And that just goes to show you that people are human. So that's how I looked at the entire situation. I give you this explanation and the parallels of Sharon and the parallels of Azriel, and I bring it to a head by showing you what I'm about to show you. And as you look, maybe you'll internalize everything I've said and come with your own conclusion, and hopefully it'll be similar to mine. But what I try to do in this entire ordeal, when I get on this podcast, is I try to break down these situations and bring them into real life so we can understand, because there are situations throughout this R.Kelly entire ordeal that are similar to what we go through every day. You don't have to interpersonalize. You understand? To understand. It could just be something that you've gone through. It depends on how you look at things. You dig? It's your intellect. It's your mental. It's your training. It's your thought. It's you. That's what I like to make and think my podcasts are different, because I want to bring it to you not from the surface level. I'm going to always bring it to you from the underline, and I am going to use everything to make a parallel, be it a beef or not. You want me to tell you why? Because that is what men are supposed to do. The boy level is we going back and forth. And for those who've done that or who do that, I'm not disrespecting you. That ain't my business. But over on this side of town, this is the man's side of town, son. This is how we work over here. However you do what you do, I'm not disrespecting that. So, if I have a listener who might see other men that's going back and forth, that's on them. I've been through them stages too. And I fell victim to that as well, because sometimes you let your emotions get involved, and it is what it is. But when you are a man and you sit back and you look and you think from a perspective of hindsight, you say, yo, son, what am I doing? Like, what am I, nah, hell no, let me fix that. See, there's nothing wrong with being a man and making a mistake. You understand? Both men and boys do that. But what separates the boys from the men is when you make the mistake, you come back and correct it. You fix it. I sincerely believe in my heart if R. Kelly could come back and fix a lot of the mistakes that happened, he would. But what happened is it's too late. The damage has been done. And it doesn't matter if he gets out of jail or not. The ordeal of the events that happen, they've been done. You ain't gonna fix this. And that is what is gonna make it a topic of conversation. With that being said, let me shut up. Take a look at Azriel.
I'm at the hospital. I'm trying to get to storage currently before he has Nick's tell the workers to move everything out.
Azriel, this is Nadia Shabazz.
Yes.
So we want to talk to you about the storage unit and where it is. I think we have an idea of where it is, but we need to hear it from you.
Okay. I do know that it...
Okay, hold on 1 second though. You don't need to worry about going there because we are sending agents there to secure the area.
Okay.
So that nobody can, that's not something you guys need to worry about, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So why don't we start with what have you been to the storage facility yourself?
I have been.
Okay, and around when was the last time you were there?
The last time we went there was after we moved out of the studio. We went there because we had to get like winter clothes out of there. So we got like winter clothes, jackets, that's me,
Okay.
all kinds of stuff that we needed to get out. And
And around when was that?
it was when he got out of storage. It was when we left the studio. So they put everything into storage, but we needed stuff out of those closets. So the workers, Alex and them, they put everything into storage. When you first walk in, it's going to be nothing but trash bags and like racks.
Now, as you guys seen, she started off slow. It was a gradual, she gradually just got more in depth with it. And it's just something for you to think about. You know what I mean? But now, that is what we would call Exhibit A. How about that? Now we're going to go to Exhibit B. And Exhibit B, the reason why I'm bringing in Lindsey, Perryman, Dunn, is because Lindsey holds the key to the character of R. Kelly. I tried to explain character in my last podcast. And I think that is very important. Be mindful, for those of you who have really followed this case, you know that Lindsey and her sister was a part of the first case. And one of them testified against him. Since then, she's had a change of heart. Now, here's my defense to that change of heart. And this defense, I am going to parallel with the sisters, the most debated topic on the internet. And not just the sisters, because in all fairness, and I'm not taking shots, if we are going to talk about the sisters, we're going to talk about cousin Levi too. How about that? We are going to bring in everybody who has a question mark of suspectivity towards the family blood of R. Kelly. And here's what I'll say to that. I'm not taking shots at nobody. Doesn't matter. Because if these people are championed for what's right, does it matter? You understand? And the reason why I'm presenting this question and asking is because there are those who've accepted cousin Levi. And Levi's, I'm not taking a shot. I'm just not. But there's no DNA to support Levi being his cousin. The same questions and being suspect has been presented throughout. And when people get mad, and even if they're not mad, they always say they ain't his cousin. But he maintains and contends that it is. But does it matter? You understand? And I'm talking from the perspective of him championing for the right of R. Kelly. Doesn't matter if he says he's his daddy. You understand? Now, when you start using that as an entryway into a conversation, then it matters. But if you're just doing what you consider to be right to help a man that you feel has been wronged, should it matter the relationship as long as the right thing is being done? I hold that same position with Lisa and Cassandra Kelly. And now I hold that same position with Lindsey. And the reason why is because there are going to be those of you that say, oh, they flipped on R.Kelly and nah. But does it matter? Because today they've changed their tune. They've changed their story. And now it's something entirely different. So let me ask you a question. Can you make a mistake yesterday and not correct it today? Can you come in with doing something wrong and turn it into something good? You understand? They all fall under the same categories. But we are selective in our judgments, in our fights, in our arguments based on the benefit or topic of conversation. You understand? Like, I know y'all know what I'm saying, but there's still going to be those who feel the way they do. And dig what I'm going to say to you. Check it out. I'm not mad at you either way. If you want to fight against them or for them, and them being Levi, Lisa, and Cassandra, so be it. Or me, or anybody. You understand? Like, and, you know, there are the people who say, you know, Shabazz, because you haven't taken a position and taken a side, we don't mess with you because you got to go this way. That's not going to happen. Because although, you know, I came into this game doing what I do, I've always maintained that I am not for or against. And the reason why, again, for those who know how to think the way that I do, because I'm not even going to disrespect those who feel a different way. You understand? We just have a different level of thinking. But in my position for what I do, the moment you take a side, you are no longer fair and impartial. You're biased. And you can't deliver a story the right way being biased, be it whether I'm for R.Kelly or against him. Because whichever way that I lean towards, if I have that position, I'm never going to give you the full correct story. A good story, be it from a professional seasoned journalist or from a nigga from the streets, he's going to tell you both sides. You understand? I'm going to give you another example, and I'm going to give you an example from the Sharon Winbush, you know, argument. Part of her discredit towards me was that fried chicken. But she used the part to discredit me for her own benefit and argument. But there's a part that she doesn't say to tell you why I was frying chicken. So if I use one part of this, I can make him look bad. But let me just tell you how I feel. And this is not towards Sharon Winbush. This is towards anybody. And dig what I'm saying to you. I owned the location. I owned it. And yes, it was in a gas station. But it was spaced off area that I rented. I leased. It was mine. And I'm going to tell you something else. I'm right now looking for another restaurant, and you will catch me in there frying chicken if I own it. And now, let me tell you something for those who may not be in a position to buy a restaurant or whatever. Don't get it twisted. That don't make me better than you or nobody. Like, everybody is different. So don't even try to take it as if I'm being condescending. The point is, yo, you do what you got to do to get your paper. Bottom line. You know, one of the most humiliating, disgraceful things that I've done in my life was sold drugs. Because there was a damage to people that I sold drugs. I sold heroin and I sold crack. And I know crackheads do every and anything to anybody and everybody to get high. They steal their mama couch. They steal their mama necklace. They'll steal and sell their mama. You got people who sold their children. Disgusting, despicable things for the sake of sucking on that glass. So if you ask me, there's nothing more humiliating than doing that. That's the side of me today. But yesterday, in those days that I was doing that, I didn't see it that way. It was, yo, nigga, I got to get my money. Ain't nobody tell them to smoke crack. They made a decision to do it. We are always going to have a side of a story that benefits the argument for what we're doing at the time. And at that time, that's what happened. That's how people felt. You understand? In today's time, we going to discredit Shabazz because, you know, we know he sold chicken. And I'm sure those that follow me, you know I own the restaurant. You know, the crazy thing about it is when they come with the information to try to discredit you, if they leave some of it out, people will laugh and say, ha, ha, you know, Shabazz was frying chicken. But there's a Shabazz where you can just Google choice chicken to this very day. And my restaurant has been closed for some time now, and there are still Google reviews. And guess what? They do not talk about chicken. You know, I went through everything from beans and rice to etouffee to shark to turtle to alligator to frog. We sold it all. And that's why we were successful. And let me tell you again, that's why I'm looking for another restaurant. As of right now. Not now, but now. And guess what else? I will be in that restaurant frying up French fries. I will fry up a potato, a chicken wing, a frog leg. Shit, I'll fry up Sharon. Somebody come in and buy it. You think I won't? Like, never get too big to where you feel like you have to be embarrassed because this is what you have to do to make a living. And this is the problem with black people. You know, we are quick to try to discredit one another based on our jobs, based on, you know, what we do. Because as far as I'm concerned, everybody at one time or another this week or the week before the week is up will be somewhere frying some chicken. So are you supposed to be embarrassed because you fried chicken? Man, listen, give me them chicken. Not only did I fry chicken, let me just make the record of this. And there was one time, and it was so popular, I promise you, this was so popular that I got tired and I didn't want to bring it on. On Sundays, you know what my number one seller was? Gizzards. In Michigan City, because she says it's right outside of Chicago. It was in Michigan City, Indiana. So it was an hour away, 90 minutes away. But there are a lot of elderly people there. And on Sunday after church, a lot of those black women, they used to love Southern dishes. One of my most famous Southern dish was gizzards. And then there was another one that I had, and I can't remember because we sold about 14, 15 types of fish. I had another fish, right? And the fish used to have 1 million bones in it. And I remember my grandmama used to love this fish when I was a kid. My grandmama knew how to break that fish off and put that fish in her mouth, and she could separate the meat from the bones and spit it out at you. Like, I promise you, this is a fish that if you a black woman or older somebody, grandmama, black woman, they love this fish. I would be frying that. And the fish in those gizzards would be gone. Because you know what? I would parboil my gizzards first. People take gizzards out and just try to fry them. Nah, that's not what I did. I might have 40 pounds legally. Literally, I mean, like we would buy a box of gizzards and they were 40-pound boxes of gizzards. We defrost them. I had big kitchen pots because I had a restaurant. I would take them and boil them from 45 minutes to an hour first. So they won't be tough. Then I would apply my seasoning. And it was a secret seasoning that Shabazz ain't gonna tell you. And then I would put the coating on them and fry them. And I think at that time we were selling the gizzards for about $4.99. We sold them in a little paper basket. And all day, every day, anybody that I seen that came in with a church hat on or Sunday dress was asking for either this fish that I can't remember the name of or them damn gizzards. Now, if you really want to make me look bad, don't say I was frying chicken. Say I was frying gizzards. And guess what? Nah, I ain't gonna do that. Because I was getting ready to say I'll be frying gizzards again. I ain't doing the gizzards again. I used to hate to fry them gizzards because there was so many of them. It would just be all day. And you'd be taking out handfuls and handfuls of gizzards. Then you got to boil all of them early in the morning. Like, it was just a tedious job. And for me at the time, I just felt like $4.99 a basket wasn't nothing. Because people would literally, there would be ladies that would come in and say, give me 3 orders of gizzards. They wouldn't want no French fries, no soda, no nothing. Meanwhile, I got alligator. I'm selling $29.99 a pop. They don't want no alligator, they want gizzards or this fish. And I forgot. And at the time, that fish was maybe between $1.99 and $2.19 a pound. So I could give you a lot of fish with these bones in it. If anybody remembers, please put it in my comments, or I can go look at one of my menus and tell you. But I'm just telling you a story. But back to the point. The point is, Lindsey made a mistake yesterday. She corrected it today. And regardless if she made a mistake or not, she still remembers things that happened. So her voice is valid. Listen to her description as to what happened.
So R.Kelly, something I want to point out is that Robert Kelly has a female type, I believe. A lot of the women that I saw mainly were African American. It was, like I said, white women came after the European tour. But they mainly had large bottoms, and big boobs or breast implants, to include his wife. His wife, Andrea, is a very petite woman, but she does have a big bottom, and he did have her get breast implants. So that shows me that female-wise, that's his general type. It's not a wafy model, childlike looking female whatsoever. Also, I was made aware that R.Kelly was aware of the infidelity in the many women one day when Andrea was staying on the tour bus in the parking lot of Chicago Tracks, and Robert went to play basketball. Well, Andrea, it was known on the tour bus that you can only urinate. You can't have a bowel movement. So Andrea, being pregnant with their second child, needed to use the restroom inside. And I was the only one at Chicago Tracks of R.Kelly's camp. So Andrea called and asked me to take her up to the restroom. So I called Robert, and he said, yeah, bring her up to my lounge. And I had a key that opened up every door in Robert Kelly's studios, offices, lounges, everything. I had access to everything. So I go up to the lounge with Andrea behind me, who's pregnant, ready to use the restroom, and I open up the door, and as soon as I did, I saw a lady sitting on the couch. Now, when I say young lady now because I'm 38. Now, at the time when I started with R.Kelly, I had just turned 18. Every female that I came across for R.Kelly always looked older than me. Even as I was 18, 19, 20, all the females looked older than I did. No one ever looked younger than I did, and I was young. So I brought Andrea up to there. I opened up the door. There's a lady sitting on the couch, and I panic. And I said, hold on, Andrea. Let me clean up the lounge. It's really messy. So I go in there and close the door. I usher the lady to the next room, which was his personal office. And got her in there, opened up the door, had Andrea use the restroom. Andrea asked me to leave the lounge, which I did, and I heard things being thrown. And she came out and she screamed at me. Well, the lady who had been in the lounge left her toiletries in the bathroom. So Drea knew that it was another female. So I called Robert immediately, couldn't get a hold of him, and I quit. I just walked out and quit. Donnie Lyle got a hold of me, and I told him I quit. I'm not working there anymore. I'm not going to be a part of that, because I thought I was a part of ruining a family. Well, then Robert called me and said, meet me at the studio, Lindsey. You really need to come up here. So I did, because I felt the need to talk about the situation. And he thanked me for being so protective of him and that I do a wonderful job working for him. And then he told me that Andrea's waiting for me out on the tour bus. And now, mind you, 2 hours before that, Andrea had just screamed in my face. So I was a little scared to go see her. It'd be like being punished by your parent and having to go see them to apologize. So I walk down to the tour bus, get on there, and she hugs me. And I start crying. And she said, Lindsey, I'm sorry. I got so mad. And she said, listen, she said, I know my husband. And there's R.Kelly, and then there's Robert Kelly. And I have Robert Kelly. So that solidified to me that she was aware of infidelity, and that was just the nature of their relationship.
I think that's excellent testimony. I think that those type of situations, and I think those type of descriptions clearly paints a better picture for you to understand R. Kelly. I don't understand why these people and some of that information wasn't presented in the first case. And let me go on record and say that everything that I am showing you, the lawyers had. So before someone says, Shabazz, you're holding up, information that could have saved R. Kelly. Yo, I'm not a lawyer. They're not going to listen to me in court. I wasn't called to testify. I believe they attempted to find me, and I refrained from it. And I'm glad that I did, because in hindsight, I found out that it was a private investigator on the Nicole side that was trying to find me and asking for the tapes. And I had already given her the tapes. Nicole had the tapes. Nicole had portions of this documentary when she was on vacation in some exotic place. I remember her telling me she was, I don't know, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I just know she was away. She was in a certain room in the house, maybe in a tub or something, I don't know. And wherever you go to relax, and she was watching it. She seen it. So the point that I'm trying to make is, the same information that I had, they had. And be mindful, I was hired by them. So it wasn't like I was not going to give them, the information. So why it didn't come up and why these people weren't used, I have no idea. But we will see what is going to happen in the Chicago case, because some of this information I believe is valid. And although, they use some of my documentary and some of the things that I did in the case, I don't know if it held any weight. Obviously it didn't. You know what I'm saying? So when I tell people like, yo, you need to, stop acting like you're an expert, because, and I'm not saying this to be nasty to anybody, but as far as I know, what my work is the only work from the YouTube community that was actually involved in the court case. Everybody else is coming with transcripts and opinion. My work was actually used and it still didn't help. Now, some of you may know that and some of you may not. But what we can say for all parties is, let's see whose work is used this time. And it doesn't necessarily have to be mine. If you have something that's valid and you have some type of information that could be, with them to help R.Kelly, then submit it. That's, you know what I mean? That's a real easy fix. Okay, that was Exhibit B. Let me take you to Exhibit C. Exhibit C is Angelo. Now, Angelo was very vocal. And you know what? Before I get into Angelo, and it's crazy, it just came to me. It's crazy. And I had to turn around because I wrote it down, just to remind myself. But the fish that I was talking about is called buffalo fish. If you come from the South, you know what buffalo fish is. Like we've seen our parents, and it's a good fish. It just got too many daggone bones in it. Now, I don't know why my memory suddenly jarred when I started talking about Angelo with buffalo fish. I don't know if Allah is trying to tell me something, but when I thought about Angelo, when I'm getting ready to get to his part, it came up to me with the buffalo fish. Go figure. Anyway, Angelo was very vocal about the situation with Azriel. His mentality at times seemed to be a loving father. Then at times his mentality seemed to be a bully. Then at times his mentality seemed to be a drug lord. Every day Angelo changed. Depending on the topic, it changed. You know what I'm saying? I can give you a great example, but I can give you a great example. We're in Atlanta, right? And I'm not even going to tell you that one. I'm going to tell you a different one. I pull out some alcohol and he flipped. And what I mean flipped is not flipped from, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but his personality changed. And his personality changed to which he became even more vocal than what he actually was. You understand? You know how liquor does that? Sometimes liquor brings out passion in people, sexual passion, fighting passion. It gets you into your feelings, and some people would sit you down and shut you up. You understand? Everybody is different. The effects of alcohol varies from person to person. So I seen the change in the switch. Now, you want me to keep it 100? I'm going to just keep it 100. And let me explain why I'm getting ready to say what I'm getting ready to say. Because I know there are going to be critics with this, all right? But I'm just telling you what it is. Listen, when you have a job, when you do what I do, right? And on this in particular job, you use whatever you can to get the information that is needed. So the way I am going to explain this will be equivalent to this type of a story. For men, right? The quickest way to some panties is some liquor. It might not be, because sometimes you get a girl that could drink just as much as you or out drink you, and you be the one passed out on the floor and she's still standing. You understand? But for the most part, when a guy is in the club, right, and he thinking with his penis, he thinking the quickest way to slide up in that is to order some drinks, get a drunk. Now you got the dirty guys who order the drinks and they put in date rape drugs. I do not condone that at all. I don't even condone the I want you drunk. You know why? I want you drunk, but I want you drunk after we've had our initial encounter, meaning that I want to already have known you before I decide to get you drunk. Because alcohol does induce your inhibitions, and it makes you perform better. You know, I never been, you know, and this is way off, but I never been on the Viagra thing. And I know dudes now, you know, they have I forgot what you call them, but it's like a mix. So they'll have Viagra, and then they'll have, you know, something else, you know, and they go to these parties and they pop all of that personally themselves, you know, so they can get a better experience. And I never understood that. I've literally been with dudes, and dudes, you know, stop at the door and pull out 5 or 6 pills and try to pass them like, who want one? Nigga, I don't want that shit. Man, I don't want that. Give me something to drink. You give me something to drink, you can have all of that you want in your system, and with still no comparison. Like, that's how I feel about it. You understand? So the point that I'm trying to make is when when guys do that with the women, with the alcohol, they do that with the anticipation of getting some. You feel what I'm saying? Like, so they think if she's inebriated, she's not going to be on point. I'm going to take the edge off. And I don't think that's fair. Not with your first encounter, because personally, I don't want nobody who don't want me on their own. If I have to give you something to make you want me, I am not even going to enjoy your company. You know, and this is even further off. That's why I don't understand rape. I can't understand having an erection and somebody is squeamish underneath you and squirming, saying stop. How do you maintain an erection? I don't get it. You know, but they're wired differently, obviously, because for me, that is the quickest turn off ever. I'm out. Soon as you say no, I'm out. And especially, I can't take no sexual type of no kind of charges. But I'm not even worried about the charges because it's not going to get that far. Just me personally, I can't do that. You know, my wires is just designed different. And I don't think I'm that different than the average man, because I don't think the average man wants that. But then today you hear about rape, you hear about what these dudes be doing, and I can't get it. I can't even get the potions and the packs with the Viagra and the ecstasy and all that. You want somebody to blow on you and you can have an orgasm, but you want to keep it longer. So you got 1 pill for the blow, 1 pill for the heart. Like, dog, what? No, that's me. I'm old school. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if my age has something to do with it, but I don't know if age comes into play with an orgasm. An orgasm is an orgasm, whether you're 70 or 76 or 17, whatever. You understand? So I'm saying all this to say the same mentality that a dude uses to try to get a girl with the alcohol is one of the tactics that you use during an investigation. You dig? But you're not thinking about having no sex with that person. You just know the effects that you want, and that is loose lips sink ships. Bottom line. And how do you make a nigga lips loose? Liquor. So when I seen how he reacted the day that I pulled out the liquor, I said to myself, in my bags of tricks, when I want to get down to the real personal questions, I know what I'm going to do. Let me get that liquor. I never had to go that far because, you know what? He was so animated that, to be totally honest, it didn't really take the liquor for him to do that, because he ended up doing that anyway, because he was just that animated about the entire situation. He was that amped up. But the first day that I actually seen him do that, I said to myself, Shabazz, check, bing, you know what to do the next time. Is that dirty? According to your morals, I guess so. You know what I mean? But is it a tactic and a tool? There's no question. That's just being honest. And just for the listener and for the people, always, and I'm not telling y'all nothing y'all don't know already know. The only difference between what you're hearing now is because you're hearing it from me and I'm being honest about it. That's the only reason why it would be an issue. Because sisters, y'all know in the club what dudes be on. You already know what dudes be on. So I ain't telling you nothing you don't already know. So actually hearing that from a dude, that might be a little far-fetched, but I have no relation. I can't see you. We're not in the same room. And at the end of the day, I'm always going to tell you what I say all the time. Yo, if whoever you with is not there to uplift you, motivate you, or change your spirit, you don't need to be listening to them people. Like, when you walk away from my podcast, I want to make sure you walk away and you got a lesson. You understand? And I want to walk away from your podcast with a lesson. I want you to stimulate my thinking. You understand? That's the way the game is supposed to go. Be it whether we're friends or foes, there should be some type of stimulation. And if you mess with me, you mess with me. I'm going to tell you what it is. Bottom line. And that's what it was. This in particular clip that you're going to see, there was no liquor involved. There was no need for that. And let me go again on record before you switch my words up. Would it have been a tactic that I would have used? Probably so. And you know what? There were times, and I'm going to tell this story a whole nother. There were times, I'm going to be totally honest. You want to know why I would have used it and when I would have used it? There was going to be questions to Angelo about, damn, I feel bad saying this. But some things wasn't just right with him and Azriel. So, I really don't want to say this, and I just feel funny about it. But, there were several times where I caught looks and I didn't think that was forthcoming as a father. And I got tape to prove it. Like, I got a clip in the studio, when she walking around with her breast out, she got a see-through sequin gold suit on, jumpsuit, ass out. He's sitting on the couch and I'm watching him watch her. And I don't know, yo. So I made a mental note of that. So if I was going to insinuate or assume that there was a sexual relationship or a thought of relationship between him and his daughter, I would definitely felt like I would have had to have liquor to break him down to be able to answer that question. Because I'm going to be totally honest with you. If somebody asked me that question about my daughter, I would probably want to fight. Like, because there's no reason in the world you would be asking me something about that, about my daughter. Like this, like, dog, that's a no-no. Like, I'm not even watching my daughter with tight pants on. You got on tight pants, go put a towel on. You standing in front of your father. Is you out your mind? Like, I will smack flames out you. You better not never come in front of me where I can see your derriere, ever. That's my style of fatherhood. There ain't no way in hell, if my daughter, there's no way. I couldn't even have my daughter as a performer on TV, and I know what comes with the game. If she got on something fishnet where I could see a nipple or I could see, a vagina print or anything, I'm not even watching it. It's my daughter. But that's just how I am. Everybody parent different. Everybody relationships is different. You understand? So with that being said, I'm just explaining to you why I would have used the liquor tactic. And I know, again, some of y'all gonna say, yo, Shabazz, you ain't shit. That's dirty. Yo, look, dog, the government, they got, serums that they use for interrogation, truth serums. And they be done shot you up with something so quick to make you talk. That's what they do when they catch spies. Sometimes that's what they do, when you making certain deals with high-level drug dealers. They may not shoot you up. The feds is dirty. The feds may sit down and let you drink a half a bottle or whatever and have somebody drinking with you. And both of them is feds. The one getting drunk, but there's one of them in that room who has a recording device that can record from the other side of the room, and they're just waiting until the liquor hits you enough to where you start running your mouth. And you know what you do? You tell on yourself. So is it a tactic that is known? There's no question. And I'm just saying that in advance because I know there's going to be some clown that says, you dirty, that. Yo, look, dog, that's the game is the game. Bottom line. If you step up to play, you better know the rules. And the rules of the game is there ain't no rules. That's really the rules of today's game. There's no rules in the game today. Everything that we were brought up to believe is the opposite. There was a time when you didn't talk to police. Today, everybody talks to the police. And not only do you talk to police, talking to the police today will get you famous and get you some money. In my day, talking to the police will get you killed. Not today. You want an example? 6ix9ine. But we're getting too far off the subject. Let me shut my mouth again. Let me take you into Angelo. Listen to what he got to say.
We gotta look at this. Ain't this a R.Kelly prop? This is everybody that's standing behind him that's not looking at he could potentially have to own up to the shit he done on his own. As anybody with a form of platform or authority have to. I think everybody should be accountable.
Let me ask you this. Do you think Azriel has the mentality that says that, and no disrespect to you, at home, it ain't shit. So why would she want to go back to you?
Well, I mean, they would have to define that. Because they could look at my life. My daughter rolled through high school driving. See, they can't get on this platform and talk that, oh, she ain't have nothing. I ain't been on the side of my daughter in them house in a long time. My daughter raised up with her own room and own bathrooms and all that
But
stuff I didn't do.
But does that compare to an R.Kelly lifestyle? Be honest.
It compares to a lifestyle that you know you never wanted for nothing. So when they say R.Kelly lifestyle, and this is what I want everybody to be clearly understanding about, right? And the good thing about this, that's a great question, because let me give you 2 points. I was a dude that come from a different side of the street. I met my wife at 18 years old. I was a rich 18-year-old young black man that come out of the hood. I had everything she could ever desire having. She worked at Kentucky Fried Chicken. I ate every day at different Italian restaurants, every night, $400-500 bills. Guess what? She didn't make me go there. She came into a lifestyle that if she was sitting across from me or not, I was going to eat at that restaurant. So she didn't get anything. She just got a plate that she just usually didn't eat. But that's my lifestyle. That she didn't get shit. Till I started putting things in her name, trusting her to her own independence and her understanding her world, that's a lifestyle. My daughter, the rest of these girls lived in a world that was already his. You ain't do nothing but stay in the house. Show me a picture where y'all see my daughter smiling at it. Just let's say a small event. Let's say what event don't a 17-year-old child that's in the music industry, that's now 21, don't want to be at a BET show. Name them. And now tell me how many R. Kelly girls through his whole 30 years attended anywhere. How many of them he proudly showed on TV he bought him a car? Oh, that's R. Kelly old girl that still got a couple $100,000 in jewelry and big old house that he bought her. You got reality show TV guys right now doing that for their women. So y'all want, everybody keeps saying this money, this lifestyle. What lifestyle? They if you don't get to experience anything in the lifestyle, what lifestyle? You drove in a car when you told to go drive. You stay in a house that you gotta stay in all day long. You go to a studio that he had. That's his lifestyle. All y'all doing is doing nothing but being a part of what he do every day. Tell me what has Azriel done for herself in 4 years? Because the most anybody seen, including myself, was seeing her now that he's locked up. And that's at court appearances. So can somebody, anybody, tell me what lifestyle? Because I do know what lifestyles is. And I do know when I say I'm going to change your lifestyle, what that means. See, I could buy you $100,000 worth of clothes. But if I never let you walk out the door in them, then what lifestyle did I change? Because I ain't never seen my daughter out before this in nothing but sweatpants. And I had private investigators. I got plenty of pictures of them girls sitting there. Wasn't my daughter, because you know why? She wasn't a part of it. She wasn't able to go out during them times. But all other ones in sweatpants. I know 4 young ladies or 5 that been home. You know what they go home with when he finished with them? Sweatpants. Not even their own personal bag that they come with. So I'm confused on where people keep saying, oh, she wants the lifestyle. What lifestyle? What lifestyle? I just need to really understand when people say that to explain that to me. Because I don't see a lifestyle.
Let me ask you this. What would be justice for you to R. Kelly?
Justice for me is me getting my daughter back. That's my justice. My justice is getting my daughter back. I really don't care nothing about his fate. What I do care is getting my daughter back, honestly. Him in the situation he's facing for all the things he done, not nobody else, he done, justice gonna make me a little bit more happier when he in there and he's around guys, men, let's say men now, in this place that he in, and he's going in, probably when he leaves Chicago, that is not gonna bite their tongue. My satisfaction is gonna be knowing what he's gonna go through in that federal prison. See, because they ain't gonna bite his ass. Ain't nobody gonna kiss his ass there. You got men there. And them men gonna express how fucked up you was as a man. How messed up you was as a man. They gonna tell you in your face, ain't nothing you can say to me, bruh. You like children. See, he gonna have to own that. He gonna have to own that without any of these yes dudes around. He got to sit there and take it where he ain't used to that. That's my satisfaction. My satisfaction gonna be getting letters from my big homies in there saying, boy, this joke in here, boy, you should see him. He like a little girl in this joint. He don't even come out. He avoid all contact. He this and that. Cause that's what gonna be the end result of him and the joint.
Wow. In a way, what Angelo wanted actually has happened. Because according to some of the people who have been locked up with him, you know, he really don't want to come outside. He really don't want to mess with nobody else. In the jails that he's been in thus far, you know, they're putting and placing him with people who they feel he would be compatible with. It's not really general population, because general population is a whole nother level. And we all know the incident that happened, you know, once before he was attacked. And I could tell you, you know, that is probably a hell of a situation to be in. And it just makes me think like, yo, like, I'm not gonna say how are you handling it. I'm gonna say that, yo, it's a hell of a lot to handle. You know, and I don't want to go into, you know, I don't want to go into the guilt and the innocence. You know, it is what it is. Technically, I know that he's guilty. Technically, I know that he's been sentenced already. You know, I just have a problem with the amount of time that was given based on the crimes. I do understand what the accusers have said, and I am not going to discredit anyone's story. That's not my place. You know, I don't want to be like everybody else and say she lied, he lied, they lied, everybody lied. Because at the end of the day, there is one common denominator with that. And that common denominator is R. Kelly opened up the door to allow them people to do exactly what they did. Now, that decision is a hell of a decision. I think his biggest brain thought will be, you know, why did I trust this person? Why did I allow this to happen? And I don't know if that's ever going to be fixed. You know, it's something to think about. It's definitely a topic of conversation. And that's all I'm trying to do, is sit down and talk with y'all. You know, I enjoy our conversations. I enjoy reading. I enjoy listening to what some of you have to say. You know, it is what it is. Unfortunately, you know, we have disagreements, but I want you to remember, and I want you to understand the theme and the undertone of what I said and what I said earlier. You understand? I want you to realize that if it takes just a fragment or a fraction of hair to change, then that person was never really with you from the first day. And once again, just to make sure you understand, relationships is when yesterday's disagreements didn't stop today's communication. I always want to be able to communicate. I always want to be able to understand. I always want to be able to rock with you, even when you don't want to rock with me, because that's what a relationship is about. And that's what building a rapport is. That's what makes social media so strong, because people buy into the relationship of fantasy. This ain't fantasy, yo. I'm real. I might be fake to you, but I'm real for me. And at the end of the day, that's all that counts. Be real to yourself. Be real for you. Not because somebody asked you to. You understand? Like, if you don't cheat because you don't want to. You don't cheat because somebody asked you not to. Because what that means is you're only doing it because they don't want you to. So you are holding and stopping yourself from doing something that you really want to do. If I want you happy, I want you to be able to do what you want to do. I'm not saying I'm going to agree with the cheating part, be it whether you cheat with a man or a girl. We not having that at all. My time is up. But I want to be able to have time up, and we want to do it a different kind of way. And the way that I'd like to do it is when somebody asks, what happened to you and such? Yo, we just grew apart. I don't want it to be, yo, she ain't shit. She was a this, she was a that, and he ain't this, and he was a that, and he was a this. Like, no, we just grew apart. But yo, she's a hell of a mother. Yo, he's a hell of a father. Yo, he's a hell of a dude. He just wasn't for me. There were things that I couldn't agree with. But I'm not going to assassinate his character. That's what's real. Pay attention to that in this community, yo. You understand? Because the same people that'll sit down and talk to you about somebody else is the same people that will talk about somebody else and tell you. Sometimes that's a red flag. You know what's real? What's real is reading those red flags. And you let people do what they do. At the end of the day, that's all you can really do, because people are not going to change. It doesn't matter how much they scream R.Kelly or non-R.Kelly or whatever. People are people, and you have to learn to accept them on your terms. So you make damn sure that you make people accept you on your terms, no matter what they may be. When you sign up for this agreement, it's for life. Like, if I rock with you, I rock with you. Nothing comes in between that. You feel what I'm saying to you? That's just being real. Yo, I enjoyed our conversation. I enjoyed our time together. I'm sorry I exceeded over an hour, but I just wanted to put something on your mind. And I want to do that all the time. I want to do it all the time. If I can't do that, then, you know, I'm not for you. And it is what it is. Enough of my mouth. You know what I need you to do, right? First and foremost, have a nice day.